November might feel like the end of the gardening season. The air turns crisp, the leaves are gone, and most people have already packed away their tools. But for experienced gardeners, November is not the end. It's the quiet beginning of something new. This is the perfect time to prepare your soil, plant cold hardy crops, and set the stage for an early, abundant spring harvest. The ground may look still, but beneath that thin layer of frost, powerful biological processes continue. Seeds sown now experience what's called natural cold stratification, a vital chilling period that helps them germinate faster and stronger once the days begin to warm. Planting in November also gives you a head start on weeds and pests, which are largely dormant. You'll save precious springtime energy, letting your garden wake up on its own schedule, not yours. In this video, we'll explore the top 5 vegetables to plant in November, the crops that thrive in the cold, endure the frost, and reward your patience with a fresh, organic harvest just as winter fades away. So grab your gloves, breathe in that cool November air, and let's rediscover the hidden potential of the late-season garden. Because when you plant now, you're not just growing vegetables, you're growing next spring's promise. If there's one vegetable that absolutely loves the cold, it's garlic. This hardy plant doesn't just survive the winter, it thrives in it. In fact, garlic needs a long, cold period to form big, healthy bulbs. That's why November is the perfect time to plant it. Think of it this way. While your garden sleeps under frost and snow, your garlic is quietly working beneath the surface, developing roots, preparing to burst into life when spring arrives. To start, choose the right variety. Look for hard-neck garlics, such as Music, German Extra Hardy, or Chestnut Red. These types handle freezing temperatures far better than soft-neck varieties and produce cloves full of complex, rich flavor. Begin by separating the cloves from the bulb, but don't peel them. Each clove is a potential plant. Select the largest, healthiest cloves for planting, as they'll produce the biggest bulbs later on. Next, prepare your soil. Garlic loves well-drained, fertile soil rich in organic matter. Mix in compost or aged manure before planting. If your garden tends to hold water, create raised beds or rows to keep the bulbs from sitting in soggy soil. Plant each clove pointy side up, about 2 inches deep and 6 inches apart. Rows should be spaced roughly a foot apart to give each plant room to grow. Once your cloves are tucked into the ground, cover the bed with a thick layer of mulch, straw, shredded leaves, or even pine needles. This natural blanket will protect the garlic from temperature swings, suppress weeds, and help retain moisture. Now comes the best part. You can relax. Through the coldest months, garlic will quietly establish strong roots. Then, when the soil begins to warm in late February or March, you'll notice the first green shoots pushing through the mulch, a sure sign that your effort is paying off. Garlic requires minimal attention over winter, but as spring approaches, check that the mulch hasn't compacted too tightly. Loosen it if needed, and keep the area free from heavy weeds. Water only if the soil becomes very dry. By late spring or early summer, the leaves will begin to yellow, a signal that it's time to harvest. Gently lift the bulbs from the soil, brush them clean, and hang them in a cool, airy space to cure. The reward? Firm, aromatic bulbs with that unmistakable garden-fresh flavor. Growing garlic isn't just about food, it's about connection. It's a reminder that nature keeps working even when everything appears still. When you plant garlic in November, you're not just planning for the future, you're taking part in the rhythm of the seasons, trusting the earth to do what it does best. When most plants surrender to frost, Spinach stands strong. This cool weather champion is one of the best vegetables to plant in November, a leafy green that laughs in the face of winter. In fact, spinach grows best when days are short and nights are cold. By sowing it now, you give your spinach a head start that few gardeners can match. Instead of fighting the spring rush, you'll have tender, deep green leaves ready to harvest before most people even open their seed packets. The secret to success lies in the soil. Spinach loves well-drained, fertile ground with plenty of organic matter. Work in some compost or aged manure before planting to build a soft, nutrient-rich bed. The soil should stay slightly moist, but never waterlogged. Choose cold-hardy varieties like Winter Giant, Bloomsdale Longstanding, or Giant Winter. These classic types can handle temperatures down to the mid-20s Fahrenheit, especially if protected. Sow your seeds about ½ inch deep, spacing them 2 inches apart in rows about a foot wide. If your winters are harsh, cover the bed with a cold frame, floating row cover, or a simple, low tunnel made of plastic sheeting and hoops. This extra protection traps warmth during the day and keeps frost off the tender seedlings at night. Once your spinach sprouts, it needs very little attention. Keep the soil evenly moist, and if the weather turns unusually warm, open the cold frame to prevent overheating. Spinach doesn't like hot or dry conditions. Cool and damp is its comfort zone. Through the winter, the young plants will grow slowly, resting when temperatures drop below freezing, then reviving with every mild day. When early spring arrives, they'll explode with new growth, lush, crisp leaves packed with vitamins and that signature earthy sweetness. Harvest the outer leaves first, cutting them carefully so the center continues to grow. With good care, each plant can produce multiple flushes of greens before it bolts in late spring.
Beyond its resilience, spinach is one of the most nutritious crops you can grow, rich in iron, calcium, and antioxidants. Fresh from the garden, its flavor is cleaner and sweeter than anything you'll find at the grocery store. Growing spinach in November reminds us that gardening isn't just for warm days. It's a year-round relationship with the soil. A little preparation now can yield bowls of fresh, healthy greens just when your body craves something vibrant and alive after the long winter months. Growing onions is an exercise in patience, and November is the perfect month to begin. While most gardeners wait until spring, those who plant in late fall are rewarded with stronger roots, earlier harvests, and fuller bulbs. Onions are surprisingly tough. With a little protection, they'll survive the cold months and burst into life as soon as the days lengthen. The key is choosing the right type. Look for overwintering varieties like Walla Walla Sweet, Sensiu Yellow, or Electric Red. These hardy cultivars are bred to handle freezing temperatures and short daylight hours. You can plant either small bulbs known as sets or young transplants, but avoid sowing seeds this late. They won't establish quickly enough before winter. Start by preparing your bed with loose, fertile soil enriched with compost or aged manure. Onions need good drainage. Soggy soil can cause rot. If your garden tends to hold water, form raised rows or mounds. Plant each onion set about 1 inch deep, just deep enough so the tip barely peeks through the surface. Space them 4 inches apart in rows roughly a foot wide. Give them room. Onions don't like crowding, and proper spacing encourages large, uniform bulbs. After planting, water lightly to settle the soil. Then apply a thin layer of mulch, straw, leaves, or compost to insulate the young bulbs from temperature swings. During the coldest months, they'll rest underground, forming roots that anchor them firmly in place. By late winter or early spring, you'll start to see bright green shoots pushing through the mulch. It's an exciting sight, the first real promise of the coming growing season. As temperatures warm, the plants will grow quickly, sending up tall, sturdy leaves that gather sunlight to feed the bulbs below. Onions don't need constant care, but they do appreciate consistent moisture and balanced nutrition. Feed them with compost tea or a gentle organic fertilizer high in nitrogen once they begin active growth in spring. Keep weeds under control, as onions have shallow roots and don't compete well. By late May or June, the tops will begin to yellow and fall over, the classic sign that it's time to harvest. Gently lift the bulbs, lay them out in the sun to dry for a day or two, then cure them in a well-ventilated space for several weeks. Properly cured onions can store for months, giving you fresh, homegrown flavor all summer long. Growing onions teaches us something every gardener eventually learns. Patience brings abundance. You plant in the chill of November, tend through the quiet months, and then, just when you need a reminder that life renews itself, the garden rewards you with green shoots, golden bulbs, and the unmistakable scent of promise. Few crops give back to the soil the way broad beans, also known as fava beans, do. These cold-hardy legumes are nature's quiet multitaskers, providing delicious early spring pods while improving the very earth they grow in. Plant them in November, and you'll not only enjoy one of the first harvests of the new season, but also enrich your garden for everything that follows. Fava beans thrive in cool conditions. In fact, they prefer the chill of late fall and early winter, forming deep roots and sturdy shoots long before most plants dare to grow. Choose hardy varieties such as Agua Dulce Claudia, Windsor, or Super Agua Dulce. These are bred specifically to endure frost and even light snow. Start by selecting a sunny spot with well-drained soil. Fava beans dislike soggy conditions, but appreciate plenty of organic matter. Mix in compost or leaf mold before planting to create a loose, fertile base. Then sow the large, smooth seeds 2 inches deep, spacing them 8 inches apart in rows about a foot wide. The seeds are big and easy to handle, perfect for beginners. Once planted, water them lightly and cover the area with a thin layer of mulch. In cold climates, adding a simple fleece cover or low tunnel will protect young seedlings from harsh winds and heavy frost. Through the winter, the plants will grow slowly but steadily, strengthening their roots underground. What makes broad beans remarkable is their symbiotic relationship with soil bacteria. Their roots form tiny nodules that capture nitrogen from the air and convert it into a natural fertilizer the plant and future crops can use. This process, called nitrogen fixation, improves soil health without the need for synthetic fertilizers. As early spring arrives, you'll notice strong, upright stems covered in gray-green leaves. Soon after, clusters of white and black flowers will appear, and they smell faintly of vanilla. Bees love them, and their arrival signals that the first pods aren't far behind. Harvest when the pods are plump but still tender. Young beans can be eaten whole, mature ones can be shelled, cooked, or frozen. After harvest, you can either pull up the plants or, better yet, chop them into the soil as green manure, returning all that nitrogen and organic matter to your garden. Fava beans remind us that the best gardens are built on balance, giving and receiving in equal measure. They prove that even in the quiet of winter, the soil is alive, breathing, and preparing for renewal. When you plant fava beans in November, you're not just growing food, you're cultivating the foundation for a richer, more sustainable garden.
There's a secret that every seasoned gardener knows. Carrots taste sweeter after a frost. When the temperature drops, these bright orange roots convert their natural starches into sugars, creating that crisp, candy-like flavor you can't get from store-bought produce. That's why November is an excellent time to sow carrots, not for immediate growth, but for the delicious reward that awaits when spring arrives. In most mild and temperate regions, you can plant carrots right now and let nature take care of the rest. The seeds will lie dormant through winter, naturally stratified by cold and moisture, and then germinate quickly once the soil begins to warm. This hands-off approach gives you strong, early crops with incredible flavor. Choose varieties suited for overwintering. Napoli, Autumn King, Merida, or Chantenay Redcord are excellent options. They're hardy, reliable, and known for producing smooth, uniform roots in cool conditions. Start with a bed of light, loose, and stone-free soil. Carrots need room to stretch downward. Compacted or rocky ground leads to short, twisted roots. Mix in compost, but avoid fresh manure. It can cause the roots to fork. Rake the surface until it's fine and crumbly. Sow your seeds 1/4 inch deep, spacing them about 1 inch apart in rows 12 inches wide. Cover lightly with soil and gently firm the surface. If you live in a cold climate, add a thin layer of mulch or straw, just enough to protect the seeds from temperature extremes while still allowing air circulation. Through the winter, your carrot seeds will rest. Snow and rain will settle the soil, keeping it moist. Then, as spring sunlight returns, you'll see delicate green fronds pushing through the earth, a small miracle of patience and persistence. Once the seedlings appear, thin them to about 2 inches apart to give each root space to develop. Water evenly, but don't overdo it. Carrots prefer slightly dry conditions between waterings. Too much moisture can lead to rot or uneven growth. By late spring, you'll be able to pull your first carrots, crisp, fragrant, and naturally sweetened by frost. Gently loosen the soil before harvesting to avoid snapping the roots. Brush off the dirt, rinse them, and take a bite right in the garden. You'll instantly taste why overwintered carrots are so special. Growing carrots from November sowing isn't just a clever gardening trick. It's a way of aligning yourself with nature's rhythm. You let the cold do the work, trusting time and temperature to prepare the seeds for life. And when those orange crowns finally break through the soil, they remind you that even the quietest months are full of hidden growth. As we've seen, November isn't the end of the gardening year. It's a quiet new beginning. Beneath the surface, every clove of garlic, every onion set, every spinach seed and fava bean is already writing the story of your next harvest. Even in the stillness of winter, your garden is alive, preparing, transforming, and building strength for spring. When you plant in November, you're working with nature, not against it. You're taking advantage of cool soil, fewer pests, and the natural rhythm of the seasons. It's the smart gardener's secret, one that turns patience into abundance. In just a few months, the frost will melt, the air will warm,
and you'll see the results of your quiet effort. Green shoots pushing through the soil, the first leaves of spinach catching morning light, and the promise of fresh flavors after a long winter's rest. Remember, gardening is more than a hobby. It's a relationship with time. The soil teaches us that growth doesn't happen overnight. It rewards care, consistency, and trust. Every seed you plant is a promise, one that the earth keeps if you give it patience and respect. So as the days grow shorter and colder, don't put your tools away just yet. Put on your gloves, breathe in that cool November air, and plant the future.
Because